Good evening. This side Rahul Magan here as a group executive officer, treasury consulting, and also a venture capitalist. As we speak, treasury consulting is a multinational headquartered group based out Singapore. We are a multinational hedge fund. And by multinational hedge fund, we mean we take positions in US, Europe, and Asia. And like I repeated multiple times, that we are a proprietary hedge fund. By proprietary, I mean no third party, whether you are a venture capitalist, you are a private equity, or whosoever can invest capital in our fund. So today I would be covering a very important issue which I'm talking from the last many years, I would say. Like in 2018, when I first spoke about the startups, many Einstein, Edisons, Newtons, Graham Bell, they said you are wrong. And today you know where are these startups? Where are these layoffs? And now I am tracking two countries very closely as far as their national debt is concerned. Number one is United States. Number two is Dubai. Now, when it comes to United States, now first of all, I would like to thank you, Janus Henderson. Janus Henderson is one of the leading hedge funds of the globe. And Janus Henderson shared the episode 1 of the Global Sovereign Index few months ago, which I took, printed, studied, and even I made the video on that. I thank you to Janus Henderson for providing another episode dated April 2022. And now it would be better to compare the earlier edition with the fresh edition and see what are all the changes that has happened. But to cut short, in 1995, United States was having around 3.6 trillion of debt. 3.6 trillion. And by 2022, which is February 2022, so remember I'm talking February 2022, the debt is around $31 trillion, which means approximately 9 times, which means in the last 25 years, the debt of the US collapsed to increased by 9 times. The current account deficit of the US is also not less than trillions on a year-to-year basis. Now, if we link all these information which is there in the public domain, but unfortunately the global media will never speak on these issues because you know that the global media is completely compromised. United States heading towards a big default. I know, just like 2018, Einstein, Edison's, Graham Bell, Galileo will, you know, how they would be reacting on the social media. But to me, it hardly matters. The way the debt of the United States is rising, one thing is very clear, is that US dollar is heading towards a bankruptcy. Now, with the Federal Reserve is in a complete mood to increase the rates by 50 basis points in June and in July. And they also made it clear that in September as well, they would be hiking if inflation will not come down. Inflation last Friday, today is Saturday, the Friday which is yesterday, is around 8.4%, which is 40-year high. And the upper target of inflation provided to Federal Reserve by the US government is around 6%, which means, and the minimum inflation is 2%, which means current inflation is 4 times of what Federal Reserve is supposed to be. So, common sense is that Federal Reserve would continue to hike in June, in July, and probably in September also, which means there would be exorbitant pressure on the indices, which includes Dow, Standard and Poor, and Nasdaq. We may see a substantial correction in all these indices, provided Federal Reserve would continue to hike and inflation would continue to peak. So if during this period, June to September, inflation will come down to say 4%, chances are low, but still, then there is a probability Fed will pause the rate hike. Now, the problem is that this would kill the medium and MSME sector of US. Now, medium and MSME sector is there everywhere. It is in India, it is in US, it is in Europe, it is in China, it is everywhere. Another big contraction point is this would increase the cost of raising funds by the US. Example. 1 year ago, the 10-year benchmark curve of US, which means the 10-year government security curve of US was around 1.5%, which means if US government at that point of time was taking the money, then the cost was 1.5%. But now the same cost is near about 3%, which means double. It means that if US government is raising more money now for a 10-year period, it effectively means that the cost of funding is going higher, which common sense would increase the taxes, which in turn would create inflation in the system, which in turn would put US to have more money into the system, which creates substantial other issues in the system. To conclude the sum up, I predict US dollar technical default, which has happened many times in the past. And unfortunately, the international media like Bloomberg and all, they not covered that. But now we are competent and we are covering this. I predict US dollar default very soon in the globe. Now, by very soon, I am giving 2 to 4 years of period. My mathematics suggests that if standing today, I repeat, if standing today, US is at $31 trillion of debt in another 4 years, which means by 2026 or 27, so roughly 4 to 5 years, US debt would grow to 38 to 40 trillion dollars, which means my mathematics clearly suggests that by 2026 or 27, and you can say US debt would be around between 38 to 40 trillion dollars. And if you are thinking that the inflation would be contained, Fed would be in a situation to cut down the rate, then you are highly mistaken, because it would never happen. And then we will surely see the collapse of US dollar. Now, the collapse of US dollar would have the global implications for the Europe, India, Asia, Singapore, and multiple countries. This is what for the day. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. Renew my personal number 9899242978. I repeat 9899242978.